This is the new Philips OLED+936, which features the latest, more efficient OLED panel, HDMI 2.1 and Bowers Wilkins sound system. Let's take a first look in this video. The Philips OLED+936 uses the latest, more efficient OLED panel from LG Display, as verified by the spectral power distribution showing a narrower blue half-width, as well as clearer separation between the green and red peaks. Our sample is a pre-production unit, so we will only publish our peak brightness measurements after we get our hands on a production sample. But the OLED panel will empower the Philips 936 to achieve even higher peak brightness than conventional OLED panels on both a 10% window and full screen, contributing to more impactful HDR presentation, not to mention brighter day mode performance for watching in a sunlit room. Delving into the user menu, we are greeted by this pop-up notification when we first try to change the settings to a more accurate picture mode, which is a requirement to comply with EU regulation for power consumption. Thankfully, the Philips 936 seems to let you disable the power consumption warning message permanently, which is more user-friendly than other intrusive and annoying implementations adopted by some TV brands. The Philips OLED+936 carries the company's enhanced 5th generation P5 dual-chip picture processing engine with artificial intelligence, which brings a number of useful features. The film detection function can intelligently recognize film-based cadence in movies rather than just depending on the filmmaker mode flag, which is pretty much still non-existent in the consumer space, giving viewers the choice of automatically switching to the more accurate filmmaker mode or the home cinema mode, which uses Philips' proprietary picture processing. And like last year's 935, the OLED+936 continues to offer advanced protection against OLED burn-in through a logo detection algorithm that analyzes more than 32,000 zones to dim down static elements without affecting other parts of the picture on screen. In terms of motion handling, the OLED+936 retains the pure cinema setting first introduced on last year's Philips OLEDs, which apply 5.5 pull-down to present 24 frames per second films correctly without telecinic judder. However, due to OLED's near-instantaneous pixel response time, some viewers may be more sensitive to the mild stutter that's inherent in 24p films, and to tackle this issue, the Philips 936 also offers a movie setting which applies a small dose of motion interpolation to smooth out the stutter without introducing too much soap opera effect or SOE, although due to how the nature of frame smoothing works, purists like me will still be able to spot some SOE however mild. New for 2021, the OLED+936 now provides a fast motion clarity setting which activates 120Hz black frame insertion or BFI. Together with motion interpolation, engaging fast motion clarity would increase motion resolution to 1080 lines or higher. 3 BFI intensities are available, namely minimum, medium, and maximum. Going from minimum to maximum improved motion clarity somewhat as expected, but we were surprised to find the picture getting slightly brighter too. This is different from the 120Hz BFI implementation of other OLED manufacturers, where increasing the strength of 120Hz BFI would darken the image on screen. Perhaps what Philips have done is to also boost OLED luminance under the hood to compensate. In any case, none of the fast motion clarity settings on the Philips OLED+936 introduced any significant flicker to our eyes, which is good news for those of you intending to use 120Hz BFI to reduce motion blur when watching SDR sports content. While previous Philips televisions weren't really competitive in terms of gaming features, this has changed with the OLED+936. The Philips 936 is equipped with two HDMI 2.1 ports, each carrying the full HDMI 2.1 bandwidth of 48 gigabits per second, as confirmed using the Meridio 7G signal generator. The television had no problems supporting 4K 120Hz gaming, as you can see from the Xbox information screen, although Dolby Vision gaming was only limited to 4K 60Hz at the time we filmed this video in August 2021. Philips told us they are investigating the possibility of adding support for 4K 120Hz Dolby Vision gaming. In terms of VRR formats, the Philips OLED+936 definitely supports the open standard HDMI Forum VRR and AMD Freesync Premium, while G-Sync compatibility is still awaiting certification. Philips has also worked hard to reduce the latency on the TV, resulting in an input lag of 21.5 milliseconds at 60 fps, and a more responsive 11 milliseconds at 120 fps. Recognizing the importance of HDRG, Philips has also provided such a setting under the HDR Perfect submenu, allowing users to disable tone mapping on the TV and avoid performing double tone mapping on HDRG compliant games which have already been pre-tone mapped by compatible consoles. According to our test, Philips has set the HDRG clipping threshold at 700 nits, which is in line with the peak brightness expected of conventional OLEDs, probably because the same firmware is shared by the step-down 806 OLED. Design-wise, the Philips 936 isn't massively different from last year's OLED+935. Thanks to OLED's self-emissive characteristics, which doesn't require a backlight, the panel and bezel have been sculpted to extremely slim proportions, at least along the top half of the display. The Bowers Wilkins speaker bar sits separate from the screen for aesthetic and acoustic reasons, forming part of the base of the tabletop stand. B&W's iconic Twitter on top configuration has been retained, which is intended to deliver superior imaging courtesy of better isolation from vibrational distortions within the cabinet. The top of the speaker bar, where the up-firing Dolby Atmos drivers reside, is covered by acoustically transparent fabric from Danish textile brand Kvadrat, while Philips and Bowers & Wilkins labels adorn the front micro-meshed surface. Ambilight is the unique selling proposition of Philips televisions, and just like on last year's 935, the OLED+936 features the most comprehensive, four-sided array, providing integrated bias lighting, or, should you choose, an immersive extension of the picture from every border of the screen. Except for a silver front fascia instead of black, the supplied remote control is unchanged from last year, with a sleek elongated design, leather-coated back and flushed buttons, some of which light up when you press a key. The Philips OLED+936 uses a MediaTek MT5895 SoC which adds HDMI 2.1 functionalities. The Android 10 Smart TV interface is responsive and easy to use, providing access to all the key streaming apps, including Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, YouTube, Disney+, Apple TV, and Rakuten TV. Because this unit is not a final production sample, we haven't carried out a full comprehensive review. This is just a first look video. But from what little we've heard during the short time we've had the Philips 936, the Bowers & Wilkins speaker bar sounded even more transparent and authoritative than on last year's 935. I certainly look forward to spending more time with a proper production unit for a full review when it hits store shelves soon. If you'd like to watch more videos on Philips televisions, please click here for our playlist, and I will see you in the next video.